It is a gorgeous day in northern New Jersey, and this is an inside look at Giants training camp presented by Quest Diagnostics. Hello again, everybody. Paul Dottino with Super Bowl champion tight end Howard Cross. Glad you could join us for another virtual ticket to the Giants action here in East Rutherford. Now, the Giants had the day off yesterday. They are in shirts and shorts today, following 2 days ago when they had their big scrimmage inside MetLife Stadium. And Coach Joe Judge was pretty satisfied with what he saw, Howard.
Yeah, it had to be. You know, what you watched in this scrimmage was a defense that was really dominant. That defensive line was great. I was excited to see them get out there and get it going. And from an offensive standpoint, you had some nice surprises. Wayne Grellman with a big run. The backs catching the ball. Deion Lewis catching the ball great out of the backfield. And the offensive line pretty much held up for him.
Now, one of the other things we talked about going into that event was how the coaches were going to be able to operate, because they tried to simulate game day conditions. And apparently everything went pretty smoothly. They even had a coach's challenge on a replay, try to see if Saquon Barkley had stepped out of bounds.
They did a good job. You know, when you're first starting out, the things that a coach would get a chance to go through, especially a new coach, would be these preseason games where they could practice some of this. They don't have any of that. They don't have any preseason games to practice it. So they have a live scrimmage, the whole thing, the stadium set up, all the details, coaches upstairs, guys on the sideline. It worked out really good. The communication was great. I think it's going to be easier doing it this year because there won't be fans in the stands. You'll be able to hear a lot more, which could be also very interesting. We talked about that before, but I think they're going to have some great communication this year.
Speaking of fans in the stands, which obviously there were none, the Giants folks did pump in some soft crowd noise, murmuring crowd noise over the PA system. So even though it was kind of eerie that the stadium was empty and the players were playing, I did think that the crowd noise that they were able to force through the speakers was rather effective. It gave me a little bit more of a feel that there was an event going on.
Well, you know, they're going to have to figure something out. The league's going to have to figure something out because, as I was telling you earlier, if you make a call at the line of scrimmage offensively or defensively, the other team can hear you. And if you make it loud enough, the sideline can hear you. So people are going to be paying attention and going like, oh, so that's what that means. Look for, hey, watch out, he's running the out, he's running the out. You go, the blitz is coming. You'll be able to know all that. You know, Omaha will not help you when there's nobody in the stands.
It ought to be very interesting for sure. You, the fans, today voted that we would focus on the running backs. So we'll get to them in just a second after the running drills are finished during the early moments of today's session. The other thing that I thought was very interesting, Howard, they did try to play it like a real game. So we did see special teams. We saw punts. We saw field goals. We saw kickoffs. We get a look at Wayne Grellman, one of the guys who had a really good night, caught a touchdown pass and also ran for one of nearly 40 yards.
He's kind of like the forgotten soldier here that everybody keeps passing over because Saquon's such a big entity. Deion Lewis coming in, you're thinking about his relationship with the Patriots. But Grellman's been a phenomenal player for the team ever since he's been here. He's been working hard. He pays attention. He adapts well to a lot of different schemes. He can run the ball hard. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's not afraid to take on a blitzer. So he does it all. It's just he gets to be on the same team with Saquon Barkley.
Grellman, number 22, looks a lot quicker to me this year, quite frankly, Howard. Shane Lemieux threw a monster block, which opened up the hole when he ran for that long touchdown the other night.
The other guy you want to think about is Deion Lewis, a newcomer to the team. Now, he's been in the league for about 8 years, known for catching passes from Brady, the short passes, being dynamic out of the backfield. He can run the ball as well, but a guy that's really shifty when he gets upfield, almost a throwback name for him, almost a Dave Meggett type. When he gets in the open field, he does very good catching the ball on what we call angle routes with the back where he goes up and quick in. It's going to be hard for linebackers to keep up with him when he comes out of the backfield from behind those big linemen.
Again, he has showed more explosiveness and quickness than I think a lot of people might have thought when he got here, being 8 years in the league, as you said, Howard. And the other thing that I really like about him, he's got a great attitude about pass protection. He knows if he's going to be in the game on third down, he's the last line of defense to help out the quarterback.
Well, he did that a lot when he was in New England as well. You know, he's been in the games having to pick up the blitzes. You know, when you're sending guys all the time trying to stop the quarterback, in that case Brady, you've got to be able to protect that quarterback. Now he's coming here with Daniel Jones. He'll be an extra blocker a lot of times, but when he's not blocking, he chips and gets out, he's going to be special.
Number 39, Elijah Penny, the fullback, who, again, for me, it's a mystery. We still haven't figured out exactly what his role would be on this team. Again, the Giants are still trying to work through the early stages of what their scheme is going to be.
Well, as they get closer and closer to this game that's coming up, Elijah Penny's big contributions got to be, he's got to figure out a way to, hey, if there's an inline blocking moment, can I get in there and try that, coach? I'd love to try that. He needs to show that he's more versatile at the tight end position. The fullback position is going to be easy for him. The tight end position is where he's going to get. I think it's other thing that he's great at, and people don't think about, is he can actually run the ball. So if things go, crazy, a lot of guys get banged up, Penny can carry the ball.
Now, the other night, the Giants also strategically did not have tackling early in the scrimmage. Two-handed touch, kind of wrap up, kind of a little bit of thud where they just hit a guy or pushed him a little bit. Later on during the night, they started to tackle. So when Saquon Barkley was in early during the scrimmage, he was not part of a lot of the tackling drills. Nonetheless, he does look as quick as ever, and I think the Giants are really going to feature him a lot in their offense.
Well, it'd be crazy not to. He's a nightmare. The guy's got great balance, which I still don't understand. He's incredible. When somebody bumps him, getting hit a couple times, almost Barry Sanders-like when you're getting hit, he's able to lean and get his body and get his center of gravity back and keep moving. He's been pretty good catching the ball out of the backfield, which has been exciting. Screens, short passes, and taking them all the way. The thing that he has to work on, and hopefully he's been working on, is his pass protection. Because when guys are coming bearing down on him, he doesn't really have, or he hit last year, he didn't have the space recognition of how close he was to him to get to him. Out of all the things he's done, that's the only thing you can say he could work on that. And I think he's working on it this time.
The other night he also flashed that little change of gear where he caught a pass, went down the sideline, and then all of a sudden kicked it into the next gear, and there was a rocket ship of explosion that came out of his legs.
Oh man, it's hard to play with a guy that's that explosive. You see a few guys around the league like that, but when you see a guy that that may not step out of bounds, that's a little unnerving to see a guy like Saquon coming down barreling at you.
So now, Howard, again, I know we haven't started the regular season yet, but by the time we do, how much do you think Barkley will come off of the field? We know he's the heart of what the Giants would like to construct on offense, but there are going to be times that they're probably going to want to see Lewis in there and maybe even Goldman in some type of rotating basis. How many snaps a weekend do you think Barkley's going to see? 90%, 80%?
This is going to be up to the coaching staff and what they think and how they're looking at it. If they have an effective package with Saquon that's working really well, that gets Daniel into a rhythm and he's getting the ball down the field, let's say it takes an 8-play drive and you score. You come back again, you may put one of the guys in to play for him. You might get a Goldman in, you might get Dion in, but you just give him a couple of reps. Just give Saquon, a break. But it's going to be heavily Saquon. I think the third down packages are basically Saquon. He's a game breaker. He's not like the normal, okay, you just turn around and hand it to him and 3 yards in a cloud of dust. This is, you pitch it to him on the outside. If someone doesn't get in front, if two guys don't get in front of him, he could take it to the house. This is if he catches the ball out of the backfield, he could take it to the house. That's a hard guy to take off the field, and the only thing it's going to be is how conditioned or well-conditioned he is, which we know he's been perfect condition all the time, and he's going to do a great job.
The other thing about Barkley, and we talked about when he caught 91 passes as a rookie, setting an NFL rookie running back record, then last year caught a few less passes. Mm-hmm. We know he also nursed an ankle injury that forced him to miss a few weeks. But as you see here, he is capable of lining up anywhere on the field, Howard. He can go wide, he can go in the slot, he can come out of the backfield. How much do you think he'll be involved in the vertical passing game? I'm not just talking about screens and flat passes and checkdowns, but how often do you think they'll get him on wheel routes, maybe get him downfield?
It's going to be interesting to me because I'm still learning both Coach Judge and Jason's kind of offense and then their philosophy of what they're doing. Watching the scrimmage the other night, I saw a lot of backs catching the ball short out of the backfield to start plays. I saw a lot of crossing routes. I saw some deep plays, but I saw a lot of intermediate routes, like almost the West Coast style of offense. That means that there's a lot of play action involved. It means that it's I'm handing it off. Am I not handing it off? Am I pitching into like RPOs? There's a lot going to be going on in the early part of the game. In the early part of the year, they're focused around the running backs because it's easier. They're closer to the quarterback. The ball comes out quicker from both offenses, whether it's Dallas, whether the Patriots. You saw quick passes a lot. So the backs are featured in that position a lot. So Saquon will have a big part in that, as well as the other two backs. Lorenzo Carter looks like a different person. Like he looks bigger, he looks stronger, he looks faster. The interior guys, Lawrence looks like a monster. Well, he's always looked like a monster, but he looked like even a bigger monster. It's just incredible to see how those guys fit together. And what was great to see, and and I don't want to give too much away, is that whether it was a 3-4 or a 4-3, it didn't look like they were trying to find guys to fit those positions. They were able, like, okay, we're running 3-4 this time. Everybody's in the right spot. Okay, we're running 4-3 this time. Everybody's in the right spot. And it wasn't a lot of rotation. And the X-Man looked good coming off the edge. Everybody that was out there was making plays. They were making contact. It was great. You see Carter here. It is like, when you're looking at him, you're like, oh, okay. But to see him the other night in uniform, he looked huge.
And to be honest with you, he also looked more explosive. They were lining him up everywhere. I mean, anybody who got a chance to see the scrimmage highlights the other night, and again, they're up on the archive at Giants.com and the YouTube site as well, you will see a guy who was really exploding vertically getting into the backfield. And I can't tell you how much that pleases the Giants, because this is now his third season, and you'd like to see him have a breakout year.
Well, I also like the fact that he played the run well. And, we're talking about him on the pass rush and how exciting it was, and whether he gets all the sacks or not, if you're allowing the quarterback to run out of there, which they didn't want the quarterback running out. But it was good to see him on the edge, holding the edge for the run. A lot of things we're looking for is we want to see him, set the edge, turn the play back inside. He did a great job of that.
Now, of course, when we talk about the pass rush, we really have to talk about the entire front seven. It wasn't just Ed Carter, who by some counts had 4 sacks. I thought it was more like 3, because I think they cheated one off of Leonard Williams, who to me should have been credited with one of those sacks. Right. Williams, by the way, has had a really, really good training camp, and he showed up again the other night.
He did a great job. Pressure up the middle was marvelous. He's a big, tall guy, rangy. He shows good strength and good explosion. His first 2 or 3 steps, he's pretty deep in the backfield already, and guys are trying to get around him. I noticed, like you said, he did maybe not got that sack. It was very close, but he was there a lot. I thought that you could see when the backs were coming off the ball, they were looking for him, because he was that kind of presence in the middle of the field. You want guys moving like that. You see him, you can see how quickly to get off. If you can stop the run, you make teams one-dimensional, this could be their successful year.
Number 97, Dexter Lawrence, you alluded to him just a little bit ago, Howard. He had batted down a pass right at the get-go of the scrimmage as he was able to get into the passing lane. And again, very stout on the inside. Him and Tomlinson, just really, really solid.
They're going to be, like I'm telling you, I think these guys are kind of finding their rhythm together. I know this early. I know there's still just scrimmages, and because of the world's change, they really haven't had a chance to see other players. I'm looking forward to their first game. I'm looking forward to this defensive package's first game and see how they play. You're probably not going to run the ball on them. Whoever they play against, you're just not going to run the ball on them. It's going to be incredible to see if they're able to get as many sacks and many pressures on the quarterback.
And remember, the Giants' front seven rushing defense did not have Blake Martinez, the inside linebacker who calls all the signals the other night. You see him there in the corner of the screen, number 54. Good to see him out there again, because he had missed a few days of practice. Coach said he was nursing something minor that the trainers had to take care of. But nice to see Martinez back with the helmet on today. He is certainly a very important part of this D after averaging over 140 tackles a season for the last 3 years.
Yeah, doing that is a good job. You're going to need to do that. But I'm telling you, they may never get to him if they can't get past those front guys. But he's gonna get the guys in the right position. He's a field general. He's kind of like the quarterback of the defense. You need guys like that to put everybody in the right place. And you don't want guys looking around at each other trying to figure out what to do. You want a guy in the middle saying, "Hey, let's go. This is what we're running." Check him and go right into the play.
We know that the starters in the front seven on D did a very strong job. Was there anybody amongst the backups who kind of opened your eyes a little bit that maybe shined a little brighter than what you might have thought?
I thought Hill did a good job. He played well, but he's been with the team for a while. But he was able to make a few plays. You could tell he was out there on the field. It wasn't like he was just blended in. He stood out a little bit. In the secondary, I didn't see, I wanted to see an interception, and I saw some nice breaks on the ball and some good defenses, but I wanted to see the interception. I wanted to see somebody, really turn on the ball and read a route. The offense did a good job of keeping the ball away from the defense in that aspect, and there were no interceptions. And then again, because of the contact, I don't know if you could have bumped the guy a little harder to get the ball out or not, but they were, like I said, they were right there on every play. They were knocking the ball down. There was no standout moment from that point. But Big Hill did a good job moving around the field, getting, run game, passing game. Guys were running away from him. You could tell that where he was on the field, the back would be cutting away from him, trying to get around him. The quarterback would be moving or rolling away from him when he was trying to throw the ball. I'm like, okay, this kid really wants to get back in trying to figure out how to crack that starting lineup.
There's Leonard Williams, number 99. We talked about him. I will say this. I thought that Darnay Holmes, who, in my opinion, may have been the most impressive defensive player I've seen over the first few weeks of training camp, was solid once again in the scrimmage. Howard, he shadows receivers. He provides blanket coverage. He's assertive, he's confident, he has terrific ball skills and anticipation, and he's got really good quickness off the line. He's able to stick with guys coming out of the slot.
Yeah, again, these guys look great. And like I said in the secondary, I don't know, because of the contact rule, how much more they could have done. If you allow them to go after guys, then all of a sudden you're nudging and battling for the ball, and the balls become 50-50 balls. But the balls are up now, they're like, okay, just knock it down and go to the next play. They were there step for step with receivers when the ball was in the air. There was no, there was one Slayton catch across the middle looked good because he made a great cut and he was open. Once that happens, that's something different. But everybody else, you were like one step away from the defender the entire time.
You get a look at Darnay Holmes, the rookie out of UCLA, a fourth-round pick, who again has been terrific in the slot. And I mentioned that because on the outside, the Giants tried a mixture of corners out there the other night. Nobody was able to come up with a pick. Again, kind of mixed results because you like to see the receivers make some plays. But as you mentioned, Howard, you would like to have seen the corners also rack up some stats too.
It's just when you're in a scrimmage, it's so hard to, unless it's a live scrimmage, it's so hard to make big plays in a scrimmage. Like I said, you saw Gettleman running the ball down the field. He's wide open, right? He's running. He's just scoring a touchdown. Okay, that's great. You want to see a defender kind of do the same thing, get into position to make a play. That just means the quarterbacks are taking care of the ball, which is a great thing for the Giants. But you still are looking for that one play in the defense that's going to really stand out to you. I was waiting, maybe Peppers to, jump a route and catch it if it was thrown to a tight end. But the ball's being thrown to the backs, it's hard to jump those routes.
There was one particular play, and I'm forgetting now who Peppers had covered, but he had blanket coverage on one of the fellas. I can't remember exactly who it was. Maybe you do, Howard, but he was right there, arrived just as the ball got there, and that's the kind of defense that you want him to play.
Yeah, you want to make sure the ball isn't caught if you can, and if the receiver catches the ball, whether back, tight end, or receiver, you want him down after the ball touches him. So that they're doing a great job from that standpoint. But again, wait till we get a little more live action, and we're not going to get that until actually the first game, which is really unique. This is basically a college football season for the NFL. Like, you kind of goof off, and there's no cupcakes waiting for you when you kick it off. This is like a Michigan, Ohio State first game, or Alabama or Auburn first game, because it's all ready to go when you show up.
As you get a look at Jabril Peppers and number 44 Marcus Golden right there as well.
How's Golden doing, like in the camp? Like I was looking for him also the other night to make the big play to show up. He looked pretty good, but he's got a little bit of a new contract. Let's see if he can, carry on, get a little extra. I'd be pulling for him. More than 10 sacks, 11, 12 sacks would be great, but he's going to be competing for sacks with Carter.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to watch how the Giants' pass rush evolves. They've got a bunch of different guys that they could use, Fackrell, Zimenez, Golden. They've really got to sort it out, and the guy who wins the most snaps is going to be the guy who really deserves it because it's a hot competition.
Yeah, it's a great competition, but that's what you want. You've got more guys playing, and with this climate and this, whatever year, you need more available bodies. You just need more available bodies to figure out what you're going to do, and I think this is a perfect year for it, and the Giants seem to stack themselves just perfectly.
Howard, thanks for stopping by today. Good to see you.
My man, Paul, I love it.
For Howard Cross, I'm Paul Dottino. This has been an inside look at Giants training camp presented by Quest Diagnostics. We'll see you next time.